With full-size 1000cc plus adventure motorcycles being such a popular choice in the UK and abroad, the knock-on success of long-legged mid-weight motorcycles is hardly a surprise. In fact, it's fair to say that in many everyday situations, a slightly smaller, lighter and easier to manage machine of around 700cc makes a much more sensible option on the UK's increasingly congested roads. But which mid-weight contender is the right fit for your garage? The new facelifted 2020 Yamaha Tracer 700 comes in at £7,945 and is available on a PCP deal based on a £2,500 deposit and 4,000 miles a year of around £89 a month. For that you get adjustable suspension, LED lights and an easy to read reverse LED dash. The Suzuki V-Strom 650XT, which is the bike that we're looking at in this head-to-head, comes in at £7,999, with PCP deals based on £2,500 and 4,000 miles a year coming in at £159 per month. The V-Strom gets selectable traction control, twin-spark engine, hybrid dash featuring analogue rev counter and LCD riding information, and gold anodised spoked wheels. With both bikes sitting neatly within the 650 to 700cc mark, the performance figures for each are, as you'd expect, quite similar. The Yamaha produces 72 horsepower and 50 foot-pounds of torque, and the Suzuki produces 71 horsepower and 45 pounds of torque. But the numbers on a spec sheet don't tell the full story, and the two machines couldn't be any different to ride out on the road. The Yamaha's CP2 engine feels the most lively and fizzy of the two. It buzzes its way to the red line with an eagerness you don't normally get from a parallel twin-cylinder engine. Interestingly, the V-Strom seems to have the most grunt, despite losing out 5 foot-pounds to the Yamaha on the spec sheet. It's down to the heavily updated but slightly long in the tooth engine, providing a broader spread of torque from right down low in the rev range all the way through to 6,500 RPM. I must add that both engines are surprisingly vibration free considering their layouts. We have clever use of balanced shafts to thank for that in the Yamaha, and nearly 20 years worth of development that's gone into the Suzuki. With both bikes sitting in such a price competitive setting, it's no surprise to see that each is distinctly devoid of such frivolous add-ons as riding modes and IMU controlled braking. One thing that does set one bike apart from the other is the dash on the Tracer 700. It's a reverse LCD item that is extremely to read in any lighting conditions. The dash on the V-Strom is a hybrid design with an analogue rev counter that circles a small LCD screen that displays the necessary information. It's a tad dated looking already and wouldn't look out of place on a scooter from 5 or 10 years ago. Comfort on both bikes is good for long days of riding, with the larger cockpit of the V-Strom making it a slightly better option for distance riding in all weathers. The Tracer 700 for 2020 features a smaller frontal fairing, with the lights, screen and side fairings all seeming to shrink by about 30% when compared to its predecessor. It may help the bike look more modern, but for real world riding in all weather it might leave you a little bit exposed. For those looking for a proper do-it-all machine, the Suzuki V-Strom 650 might be the best choice. It's a decent all-rounder on the road, can handle touring, commuting, and is only really let down on long trips by the slightly vibier nature of the V-twin engine. The V-twin though will come into its own if you struggle with taller bikes, as the narrow nature of the machine makes the step over an 835mm seat height a much easier proposition. It would also make sense if your touring was to involve some light trails, especially as the V-Strom XT is the more adventure biased version already fitted with spoked wheels. The updates to Yamaha for this year have transformed the bike and the way it handles. It's quicker to turn and more accurate than the outgoing model, but hasn't lost any of that comfort of the previous bike. If you want a large dose of sports with your sports touring machine, this would be the weapon of choice from the two that we have on offer. The only real issue with doing larger miles on the Tracer is that new styling that I've already mentioned. It sees the front end bodywork shrink considerably, losing in the process some of the bike's vital weather protection. There is a taller touring screen that you can buy, and that should help, and it would be on my shopping list if I was going to do some all-weather riding. So there you have it, that's our verdict. But what bikes would you like us to compare? Let us know in the comments below and we'll see what we can do.